fucking muted. I just realized I had my mic down. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Esports Podcast. I'm your host, William, and today we are talking about the LPL and the semifinals. Sorry I'm a little late today. Game of Thrones. And I know you're like, well, William, Game of Thrones at 10. Your podcast should go on at 10. Well, I have to discuss recap. There's some recap that has to go on with some friends. So, we'll get into it now. And I'm sorry for next week as well, because we'll be in the same situation. Maybe even longer, because episodes are supposed to be longer. Anyway, let's get into the games. So, let's go into the LPL schedule. First up, we had Fun Plus Phoenix versus JDG. Goddamn JDG. Oh, I love. Let me. Let me explain to this something. I thought going to playoffs, this was the weakest team in the playoffs, by far. Zoom, great guy, great top laner. Yagao, struggling quite a lot towards the end of the year. Imp, not very good in my opinion. Oh my god, just the whole team in general, not playing up. They lost like the last 3 series, I believe, if I remember correctly. I thought they were an early knockout. I believe what I put. We put Team WE to beat him 3-1. By the way, if you notice, there's a lot of red here. It's not been a good LPL for me, but this has been like the greatest weekend for me. So, Team Liquid, if you didn't watch NA, oof, fantastic. I have a new hat coming in because I drank a whole bottle of champagne yesterday because I was excited. Let's get into these games though. Game number 1 was Fun Plus Phoenix versus JDG. Fun Plus Phoenix did take the victory. They won by 7k gold. It was 17-8, 10 towers to 4 towers, 2 inhibs to 0, 2 barons to 1, 4 dragons to 2. Gimgoon was one of the main reasons of this. He was just popping off on the cannon. He made Zoom's rise like completely useless. And TN also on the Olaf had a phenomenal game against Rek'Sai. Olaf is a very good counter to Rek'Sai because of how strong he is early. He's actually stronger than Rek'Sai is early. They're both really strong early game champs, not so much late game. So the fact that Olaf is stronger early means that he's just overall better in the time window that you need Rek'Sai to be good at. So Yagao actually popped off on the Corki, and he was basically keeping JDG alive. This game was really close, to be honest. It wasn't that big of a blowout, the 7k gold. This was most towards the end. But Imp on the Varus, he didn't have a fantastic game. He went 1-4. LWX was doing phenomenal with 6-2 and 10 Callista. And all around, this was just a very, very close game. Back and forth, lots of fighting. Actually, JDG had a lot of the scaling with Yagao and Zoom. I believe Yagao was full build Corki, and that's a terrifying thing to go against. And Doinby on the Morgana actually had a really good game as well, but they just had the outscaling on JDG. But they weren't able to do it. They lost 1 too many team fights, and Funplex Phoenix was able to take the win at the end. I wish they told me the time on this, but they don't. Game number 2 was kind of a blowout in the JDG's favor. It was 44k to 37k, 16 kills to 4, 7 towers to 3, 1 inhib, 1 baron, and 3 dragons to none. Gimgoon did not have a good game on the Renekton. He was going against Zoom on the Silas. I thought Zoom played it phenomenally in the early game where Renekton's strength is. He just could not get any advantages against Zoom, but it wasn't really Gimgoon that had the issue. It was Imp popping off on the Ashe. He went 6-0-9. I believe they had like 7 kills in the first 6 minutes of this game. It was insane. It was a huge blowout. Complete victory. Complete wipe of FPX. Game number 3, FPX did come back and win game number 3, and they brought out with a 15 kills to 6. It was a 13k victory with 8 towers to 1, 1 inhib, 1 baron, 0 inhib, 0, and then 2 dragons apiece. Gimgoon brought back out the Kennen. He looked much more comfortable on the Kennen than he did on the Renekton, to be honest. Zoom even pulled out his Yorick, which I believe Zoom was undefeated on Yorick, if I remember correctly. And same with Yagao on Zoe. I don't know if Yagao was undefeated, but he had really high win rate on Zoe. So they really brought out all the pieces. And they also brought out Imp on the Ashe, which had a very successful game, and they brought out Galio for Lavmau. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. And then, but Doinby's rise was just too much. TN had a phenomenal game on the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai counters Lee Sin a bit because it's the exact same situation, in my opinion, as the Olaf to Rek'Sai. It's almost like a chart where you have Olaf early game, then is greater than or equal to Rek'Sai, which is greater than or equal to Lee Sin, like in regards to early game, and because of that, Rek'Sai was able to dominate, and Tien had a phenomenal game as well. Doinby popping off on his rise with his signature Righteous Glory that everyone builds now, which is awesome to see. And LW, I love Varus, but I think Varus is one of the strongest ADCs right now. His poke is just absurd. We go to game number 4, and speaking of Varus poke, JDG was able to pull out this victory. This one was really, really close. It was 67.9k to 64.3k, 23 kills to 21. Insane. That's 44 kills, by the way. It's total LPL game. 7 towers, 5 to 5 towers, 0 inhibs each. That doesn't sound like a correct stat. That is definitely an incorrect stat. Unless JDG broke the rules of the game somehow, or FPX surrendered and I didn't notice. They definitely took at least one inhib. 1 Baron, 3 dragons. Oh, that's funny. LWX had 10 kills on the Kog'Maw. His Kog'Maw looked clean, but he did get caught. Zoom was 5-3 and 15. Oh, and by the way, we had a Malzahar who went 0-6 and 16, exactly how I expect Malzahar to go against. We had Tien on the Nocturne, he did okay. The Rek'Sai for Flawless was excellent. Imp on the Varus popped off, but we had a Bard. We had a Bard and a Malzahar, but the Bard actually was clean, and we've known that he plays, Lamau plays a lot of Bard, so not in professional play, but in a solo queue. And he looks so good. But there was one play near the blue side, like you had the blue first, the outer turret, and then the little wall right there, the little pathway. Bard put his portal through there, and Gimgoon just slammed him right into the... I believe he slammed Zoom, I believe, came through the portal, if I'm remembering correctly. He just slammed him right into that wall and got a double kill on him and Imp, who also came through there. So there was some plays that Gimgoon was just popping off on this pop. Like 1, 2, and 9, you're like, yeah, that's a good game. Gimgoon was saving this game with his ults, constantly ulting Imp out of the fights, or Flawless out of fights, so that a lot of JDG's damage was separated from the team. And because if you look at JDG, they really don't have any tank at all. If you take out their 2 damage sources, they're able to focus on the other ones and just destroy them without any issue. But at the end of the day, you had an empowered shock blast into a piercing arrow, and it one-hit Kog'Maw. Like both of them hit at the same time. I couldn't even believe it when I was watching live. Like all of a sudden they're just defending base. I believe JDG had taken Baron, but Fun Plus Phoenix was like defending, CJ or turtling, and all of a sudden LWX was just dead. And I was sitting there like, how did that just happen? But LWX, like in the replay, you see he gets hit by the shock blast and immediately gets hit by Imp's empowered Q on Varus, his piercing shot, and it killed Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw was a squishy little dog. And after that, once you lose Kog'Maw, you lose the team fight basically. But it was a crazy game. But it was a good victory for JDG. Game number 5, 6k gold. JDG wins 15-14. This game started out so good for Fun Plus Phoenix. 9 towers to 1. You're like, how did this game start out good? Well, it started out with 3 kills by level 2 for Fun Plus Phoenix. It was 3-1, and Crisp and LWX went up. Flawless died 2 times on the Elise early, and Elise is one of those champs that has to get ahead early or she doesn't do anything. Went 1-5-8, not great. This game, ignore all these players. They didn't do anything. Zoom put them in a backpack this game. His Gangplank had 4 item plus boots by by 22 minutes or something absurd. He was so fed. He destroyed Gimgoon on the Vlad. He made Gimgoon just be completely irrelevant this entire game. Zoom was doing 1,200 crits with his barrels at the end, and Kog'Maw only has like 1,300 HP, so that's not good if he gets hit by 1 barrel. Doinby wasn't able to pull it together on Cassiopeia. Tien had a very poor game on the Jarvan. Like we talked about Jarvan being poor in every region on every podcast so far, so I'm not gonna go there again. But it's just a bad pick. Yeah. FPX, the number 1 team in the LPL, lost to JDG. Oh, I hate Caps. Caps is the prophet. He predicted this, apparently, and he ruined me. Either way, if I just needed Fun plus Phoenix to win here, I was totally okay with Fun plus Phoenix versus Top or Fun plus Phoenix versus IG for seeing like a showdown in the LPL. That's why I'm salty. Like I know I shouldn't be because JDG is playing phenomenal right now. They absolutely are. But I wanted to see like Fun plus Phoenix, who I considered a top. Like did I say? I think I considered them like number one, number two in the world. I like have to. I put them number one because I had to because they won the LPL and they beat IG. But secretly, deep down, I consider IG the best team in the world. But yeah, so like Fun plus Phoenix and IG, I considered number one, number two teams. I considered Top to be a top five team in the world. All three of them, I was excited. Gonna get a matchup no matter what. JDG comes in here. I think they're the worst team in the playoffs. Not, but I will give them credit. I will absolutely have to give them credit for this because not only are they winning, but their coach. They talked about it a bit on the broadcast, but like I don't know if they talked about it enough. Their coaching on JDG has been stunning. The way they are just absolutely focusing exactly on their enemy's weaknesses and playing to them perfectly. First against Team WE. Team WE wins the late game with Mystic. So what you do is you shut down Mystic early, and then you focus all of your resources into shutting down Mystic early, so he doesn't get the chance to be able to scale to late game and win it through team fights. They did that successfully. It's not only the coaching, and it's also the execution. So the coaching is giving them the tools to succeed this way against RNG. RNG's biggest weak point is not like with Team WE, you focus on Mystic because there's the strong point, but because there wasn't like a for sure weak point on Team WE necessarily. But against RNG, there's a for sure weak point against RNG, and that is their top lane. You just focused on the top lane, and they focused all their energy into top and getting Zoom, who they have a fantastic advantage with since he's the best top laner in the LPL or second best top laner in the LPL, depending on the Shy. That's the argument you can make there. Hopefully I didn't just unplug my mic because I just hit it with my foot. But, no, we're good. Okay. I just got to make sure those plugs are in correctly. And then, so, against RNG, they focused through top lane, had such a big lead for Zoom every game that Uzi wasn't able to carry RNG through. It got close, but he wasn't able to get it through the series. So JDG fought perfectly there. And against Fun plus Phoenix, what they do is with TN and Doinby, they focus on the mid lane. And they have Gimgoon do solid in top, and LWX and Crisp do solid in mid, or bot. That's why the best team. They have two solid the like bot and top. The side lanes are really good, and then in the mid lane they focus with Doinby, who was MVP of the LPL, but then with TN on top, who got third, I believe, for MVP ranks. They really focused and destroyed through the mid lane and pushed through mid lane, and by doing that, Doinby was able to roam, or TN was able to roam to top and bottom to get advantages for the other laners who are keeping equal. Well, by focusing down Doinby in these games, like game number one, they got Yagao ahead with Flawless went 0-5, but they got Yagao ahead on the Corki. So Doinby was not as useful, even though he was 6-1-10. It's Doinby, but he wasn't as useful, but they still won. Fun plus Phoenix still won, but they had gotten Yagao ahead, which was the whole point. In game number two, they got where they did win. They had Imp on the bot lane, but they also had Flawless focusing down and making sure Doinby didn't get ahead of Yagao. Again, Yagao went 4-1-6, Doinby went 2-2. Game number three, Fun plus Phoenix did successfully win, and this game did not work out in their favor at all. That was just a bad game. Game number four, this was again another bad game for the mid lane, but this was more so focusing on the bot lane, where they really wanted to get Bard ahead because Bard's such an early game champion, and with the poke of Varus, they were able to successfully do that. And you don't really play around a Malzahar ever anyway. Malzahar is more there for the utility, so they didn't do it that time. And then this time, as we talked about, Zoom. So they only did it for like the first 2-3 games, but that was the game plan going in, and they succeeded on that game plan to be able to beat Fun plus Phoenix, in my opinion. And then today, we had Invictus Gaming versus Top Sports. Hey, I finally said their name right. Invictus Gaming, game number one. They won by 10k gold, or like 9k gold. 14-5, 8-3 in towers, 1 inhib to none, and 1 baron to none, 2 dragons. The Shy popped off on the rise. He went 4-1-5. I felt so bad for 369 on Jace. He was getting so hard camped by Ning. Ning is a very evil person as a former top laner of myself, and now I'm more of a mid or ADC. But still a top laner for like 5 seasons in a row, so I'll definitely still consider myself a top laner. Yeah, Ning camped the crap out of 369, made him tilt into oblivion. I felt he went 0-4, super hard camp, but Knight had a phenomenal Corki game and was trying to keep his team in it, just wasn't able to do it. Game number 2, Invictus Gaming won that game as well. 58.9k to 49k, 17 to 14, 11 to 2 in towers, 3 in Hibs, 1 Baron, 1 Dragon. The Shy again on rise, man. The Shy had I believe a 70 CSD at 15 minutes against 369. That's not something you ever want to see, especially in pro play. Ning also camped the shit out of him again. Ning is, again, a very evil person. Rookie had a great Akali game at 5-2-5 as well, but Knight had a better game, I believed, on Jace. He had 6-3-6. Knight played phenomenally this series. Knight is, in my opinion, with the way Doinby played against JDG and the way Knight played against IG, I think Knight actually beats out Doinby, in my opinion. If you remember my podcast a few weeks ago, I said Doinby by that much. That much. It was so close between Knight and Doinby. I believe I said that, at least. Maybe I didn't. But they were so close. They were so close. And that Knight really showed why he's probably the best mid laner in the world at the moment. Game number 3, he absolutely showed that with his 11-1-6 Akali. And even though Ning was 11-4-3, the Shy went 0-8, by the way, on Victor. If that doesn't tell you Victor top sucks, if the Shy going 0-8 on it, I don't know what will. But yeah, we had the Urgot jungle, which was very exciting to see. 8-3-10. You got to see the ult range on it, the update. It's so clean. It's such far away range, and XX was able to bring that to a. He'd be able to showcase that on the big stage. Knight though 11-1-6 on Akali, man. This guy's a monster. This guy was so good all series long. In game number 4, Invictus Gaming did pull it off for a 3-1 victory. The Shy only went 2-6 on the Vladimir. You're like, ugh, that's a 2-6 Vladimir. He must have got wrecked to Moyu on the Jace. The Shy kind of entered after laning phase a bit. Like, he got kind of cocky. Laning phase, I believe by, what was it? I believe it was like 15 minutes. He was up 50 CST, 1-1-1, and Moya was 1-4 or something like that, with Ning constantly capping top lane. But, yeah, he was up like 50 CSD on Vladimir over Jace. That doesn't happen ever. Ever. That should never happen. But then he did enter quite a few team fights, and Moya was picking up a lot of kills in team fights. So Moya played the Moyu, I should say, played the team fights much better than the Shy did. But that didn't matter because IG, Jackie Love on the Varus, 7-2-8. I didn't think Balon's Nautilus was anything special. I don't think Nautilus is a solid pick whatsoever at the moment. People say, oh, it's tanky. I don't find it super tanky, even for what it's worth. He's a much worse version of multiple other tanks like Braum and Alistair and stuff like that. And Ning had another great game. He went 1v5 a few times with his ult, but that is just IG. It's not an IG game unless they make dumb plays all the time, because they are just so good mechanically. By themselves, they are just all so good mechanically. And to all of your G2 fans out there that say, oh, I'm excited because G2 is the most mechanically skilled team in the world, they're not. IG beats you in all 5 roles by a handed margin, large margin, in my opinion. But IG is not in the finals yet, because that's what we're talking about next. Well, first, we're not. Spoiler alert, we gotta talk about the 3rd place match. The match that I would have totally been fine seeing for 1st place. Fun Plus Phoenix versus Top. I am so excited to see Doinby versus Knight. It's gonna be a very exciting match, I think. I really do think, though, at the end of the day, that with the way Knight played against IG, if he can play like that against Fun Plus Phoenix, I think he's going to be able to at least control Doinby. And the fact that Doinby is controlled, the rest of Fun Plus Phoenix with LWX and Crisp in them, they won't be able to stand as much of a chance against Top. I think that Knight's just sole single powerful like carrying against a team that if he went against any other team that wasn't IG, I really think the top wins that series because of how strong Knight was playing that and how much snowball he had almost every single game. I don't think he had a bad game against IG. So with that, I will say Top will win this one close for a 3-2 series, which I'm sorry, Top, because apparently that's cursing you, as the only victories I've had so far is Sino Dragon over EDG and IG over Top just last game. And I didn't even get the games right on those. There's no green here, which looks pretty bad for how well I did during the regular season. Though this game probably it's all been look at JDG, JDG, JDG. I've picked against them every time. So what do you think? I'm 0-3 picking against JDG in the playoffs so far, so you'd think I'd pick them. I've also never picked against IG all year. I picked them to go, if we go back, I picked them to go 15-0 this year according to my predictions. I also picked them to win there, so that's 16-0. I am picking them to go 17-0. I am sorry, JDG. I'm sorry, Caps. I know the prophet has spoken. I don't believe in it. I'm sorry. There is some weird voodoo magic, okay? I believe in it more than I should. I said I don't believe in it. I believe in it a little more than I should. There's some creepy stuff going on with this that somehow JDG's pulling off this miracle run. It's not just because it's not as. It's a pretty big miracle. It's if you any NA viewers here, this is pretty much to me if FlyQuest were to win NA this year. JDG's a very good team. They finished 8th. I thought they were in the last place team just because I had a recency bias. Shouldn't have done that. Team Liquid fan, G2 also proved that wrong. Griffin did not. But most of the teams that if you've watched any of the other podcasts, I've flamed Reddit quite a bit for having recency bias take too much of an effect in their head, saying that these teams suck now. They don't. I did, however, have too much recency bias on the JDG, mostly because they're fighting for a playoff spot, and I think an 0-3 when you're fighting for a playoff spot compared to an 0-3 when you're in first place locked in already is a much different situation. However, JDG is completely proven me wrong. I'm sorry. Zoom is a fantastic top laner, rivaled that of the Shy. He's amazing. Yagao, both the Dumpling brothers, huge, very strong mid laner, good, not better than Rookie in my opinion. Then you have Jackie Love. So let's go to this. Let's go to LPL Spring. We have Jackie Love and Baolan, and then on JDG we have Imp and Lamau. And then not only that, did I click on JDG or did I? Oh, and then we have Flawless in the jungle against Ning. Flawless has had some very good performances, but Ning has been the best jungler in my opinion. Along with, I know TN won the best jungler, but I think Ning has actually been slightly better than TN in my opinion, but very close, so I can't argue it. However, neither of them are Flawless, and that's the jungler on JDG. And I believe that IG is just simply better. Like, look, they have the Shy. Slightly better than Zoom, barely. Like that's high praise to Zoom in my opinion. I love Zoom. I think Zoom has had the phenomenal year. Ning, quite handily better than Flawless in my opinion. Better than Levi as well, who I love Levi, but he hasn't won a game all split. I don't expect to see him in the finals. Rookie, slightly better than Yagao, but Yagao has had some phenomenal performances. But I think slightly better is a little bit too much. I think Rookie's decently better. Like a good margin better than Yagao. Jackie Love and Baolan, I think they're better than both Imp and Lamau. I really do. I think that Imp has, there's a lot of people talking about Imp as he's former world champion, if I remember that correctly. Let's click on his name. No, they were favored to win the whole world champion. He went to Worlds. He's not a world champion, but he went to Worlds. Got it. But I don't want to be mean. A lot of people, especially JDG Imp on Reddit, I see him sometimes in the comments. This is the Imp coming back. I think it's more Lamau, and I think it's Zoom and Yagao and Flawless. I think Imp is the worst player on this team, if I'm being honest. I don't really think it's Imp that's the one carrying this team. I think he's improved way more than the regular season. I thought he was. If if I would tell you in the regular season, uh, ADCs that Imp is better than Jinzhou on BLG. That was he had a good season, but not the best. He'd be better than probably not better than iBoy, probably not better than LWX, not better than Kramer in my opinion. Better than Chelly. Yeah, so we have like two so far. Not Zawuji, no. Uzi, no. Gala, no. Azura, no. SMLZ had a really good year, honestly, on Sunning. No. Mystic, no. Loken, no. Puff, tough. Like that's rhymed. Y4 he's better than. So he was like, in my opinion, during the regular season, Imp was a bottom 5 ADC during the regular season. And I think he has improved greatly in the playoffs. But I still would only have him in like the top 6, top 7 ADCs, in the top 8 probably in the LPL. Like not even. So I think it's more so with Jackie Love. I think Jackie Love is one of the best ADCs in the world. I love his aggressive playstyle. It fits IG to a core, like perfectly. Where IG is just so good at just going in and winning fights. They flash forward. They always go forward. There is no going backwards whatsoever. There's no such thing as going backwards with IG. And I think that fits Jackie Love's MO, and that's why Jackie Love has succeeded so much on the team, because they let him thrive in that what's the word I'm looking for? Play style, that play style that he thrives in. So because of that, I am going to Invictus Gaming. I think it will only be a 3-1. I will give one win over because the Shy will enter a little too hard against Zoom one day, and Ning will play over aggressive in the top lane, and Zoom will be able to carry through there. I think that will get one win for them. But outside of that, I see IG standing at MSI with SKT, with G2, with Team Liquid. And the winner of Flash Wolves, or I don't know. I said Flash Wolves, but I don't actually know if Flash Wolves moved on. Haven't watched the LP or LMS yet. I'm hoping it's Flash Wolves because I think that Flash Wolves is still arguably the best team in the LMS. But if AHQ won today, or was it yesterday? Yeah, if AHQ won yesterday, props to them. They really turned the season around. But with that will be the entire podcast. This is going to be our second last podcast. We will actually have our last NA podcast tomorrow. We'll have our last LCK podcast Tuesday. We'll have an LMS podcast, but it won't be our last because we'll still have one more of those. And then we'll have our last LEC podcast Thursday. So thank you guys for coming to watch this whole split. And I will... Oh, I didn't put IG 3-2. 3-1, sorry. 3-1. And that's my final predictions for LPL. It's been a blast. See you guys tomorrow, and then we'll be off. No, next week we'll still have LPL and LMS, but after that we will be off until MSI. So I'll see you then. Good night.